will still bring him back next season to Australia Open. Of course, we've got so many other, Grand Slams to look on for this year. But how significant do you think this setback will be for Novak Djokovic?
Well, it's a very, very big, setback, to be honest. Obviously, it's going to be gutted with the fact that he's not going to win. With the fact that he's not going to win his 11th, Australian Open. Apart from that, there's also the 25 Grand Slams he was also chasing after. We also recall as that I love, the likes of Serena Williams as well. We are also looking for, that 25 Grand Slam. But it was a very, very bad day for Novak Djokovic, and coupled with the fact that he had to come back from that injury when he had to play, Carlos Alcaraz despite losing the first set. But I just feel it was not. I really believe the Australian people lacked class, because at some point they bullied him. Exactly.
I mean, when he retired,
that was not a sight to see.
He was still being bullied.
He was still being bullied. I mean, that was not a good sight to see. That's bullying, to be honest. And
because of this, he was supposed to play one of the, I don't know, maybe round 3 or round 4 game at the Lord Lava Arena.
Yeah.
They had to push it to Melbourne.
Exactly.
Because they know that the Lord Lava Arena takes more people.
So, I mean,
so they're trying to reduce the negativity that will be turned on him. They had to move one of his games.
I mean, one of the broadcasters, I think we also had a conversation a couple of days ago. Where they were, I really want to talk about don't talk about it, rather, where the broadcaster himself was saying some funny things like Novak Djokovic get out and all of that. And when we said that there's a very, very thin line between banting and then bullying. So
they apologized.
Yeah, he did apologize.
The
damage has already been done. I mean, it's quite unfortunate that you had to go through that, and I just wish he can come back stronger. He also said that this could also be his last.
Yeah, he said he's unsure.
Exactly,
he said he's unsure if he's
going to come back.
I
mean, so is that. But apart from that as well, there are also other Grand Slams also look for. So the American Grand Slam is there. The French Open as well.
I'm looking forward to him. Maybe the US Open. It could be enough time, because the injury he had is actually a torn muscle.
So in his left thigh.
I don't know if the French Open or the Australian Open, but
maybe he should be back before the US Open.
Well, hopefully. But the most important thing is that, just the same thing I kept saying about Serena Williams. Serena Williams did not equal Margaret Court's record.
Exactly.
She wanted it so bad.
She
was struggling to make it to the finals, and she was losing the finals. She was losing her status against
Naomi Osaka,
young girls that not even started playing tennis when she won her first Grand Slam. So I'm sure she knew she had to leave when the ovation was loudest. For Novak Djokovic, Agbatomi, you know my stand. There's some athletes that they've gotten to an elite level where they can decide when to take a bow. They are not in any position to tell them to leave. Whenever you look at Ronaldo, you look at Messi, you look at Lewis Hamilton, you look at Novak Djokovic, you look at Tiger Woods, you look at all of these
LeBron
people.
James.
Exactly. They've attained that level, like they can leave when they choose to leave.
Yeah, I mean,
not when your pressure gets
when they feel their body can continue the pressures that should be their decision. Yeah, that should be their decision.
I mean, you've enjoyed these people for 20 years.
And I think it's going to be a disservice to them, as well as their as their profession now, or maybe their career, when you now suggest a retirement from the sport that they've given us a lot of joy over the course of the year.
I totally agree with you. I think the Australian fans are absolutely classless.
That was
very unsportsmanlike. Whatever it is that may have happened, he didn't lose. He had to
withdraw. Exactly.
That alone is trauma already. He just defeated the world number 3, arguably the biggest prospect in world tennis right now.
At the moment, I mean, if Carlos Alcaraz had perhaps gone to the final and then maybe defeated the winner, it could have been the youngest tennis player to complete the Grand Slam at just the age of 21. So it's very unfortunate that Novak Djokovic has to go through that. And hopefully we would maybe get to see him next year. That's going to be the 2026 Australian Open.
Well,
he was
good after retiring hot, after losing the first set to Alexander Zverev in a tiebreaker. The 37-year-old said afterward, there's a chance that I may come back, but there's also a chance that I may have played my last Australian Open. The world number 2 Zverev through to the finals, where he would face the defending champion Jannik Sinner. Novak Djokovic withdrew from the final 4 clash after losing the opening set in a tiebreaker by 7-5 due to a torn muscle in his left leg, leaving Lord Lava Arena on a chorus of boos. There have been doubt about the record 24-time Grand Slam champion's fitness after he initially suffered the injury during his first set quarterfinal triumph over Carlos Alcaraz, which ran late on Tuesday night. I did everything I could possibly do to manage the muscle tear that I had, Novak Djokovic told reporters after his semi-final retirement. There were medications, the stripes, and the physio work help to some extent today, but towards the end of the first set, I just started feeling more and more pain. It was much to handle for me at the moment. Unfortunate ending, but I tried. Even if I'd won the first set, there's going to be a huge uphill battle for me to stay physically fit enough to stay with him in the rallies for another 2, 3, or 4 hours. I don't think I had that, unfortunately, today in the tank. Well, quizzed on whether it might be his final appearance at the Melbourne Park, the 37-year-old said, I don't know. There's a chance, who knows. I would just have to see how the season would go. I want to keep going, but whether I'm going to be a revised schedule for the next year, I'm not sure. 10-time champions in Australia, Novak Djokovic said, I normally like to come to Australia to play. I've had the biggest success in my career here, so if I'm fit, healthy, motivated, I don't see the reason why I would not come. But there's always a chance that this could be my last Australia Open. Well, let's listen to what Zverev is also expected to come up with. Okay, let's take you rough through. Novak Djokovic had heavy strapping on his thigh for the match, but appeared to be moving well during the early exchanges. It was a tight tie break until Novak Djokovic netted an easy volley at 5-6 to hand Zverev the set. The Serbian almost immediately shaking hands with his opponent afterwards. In the second men's semi-final, defending champion and world number 1 Jannik Sinner sailed through to another final after seeing off big serving American Ben Shelton in 3 straight sets of 7-6, 7-2, 6-2 and 6-2. That was a massacre. Shelton appeared in his first Australia Open semi-final and in just his second Grand Slam level, forced to shoot 2 set points in the first, but crucially fell short before losing out in a tie break in which Jannik Sinner was leading by 5-love. The third provided far more competitive, with Shelton back to pushing Sinner all the way, but at 2-2 it was Sinner who struck for the first break after Shelton missed out on 3 break point chances across the previous 2 service games. From there, Sinner proved composed and professional to close out the match and took the final meeting with Zverev on Sunday. Zverev, who is through to the 3rd Grand Slam final, chasing the first title, was quick to leap to the Bulls Djokovic defense on his on-court interview. He said, and I quote, "The very first thing I want to say is please don't boo a player when he gets injured. I know that everybody paid for tickets, but Novak Djokovic is somebody that has given this sport for the past 20 years absolutely everything in his life. He has won this tournament with an abdominal tear. He's won this tournament with an hamstring tear. He feels he can't continue a tennis match, and he can't continue a tennis match. Of course, the longer you continue, the worse it gets, and maybe he was not moving as well on the tiebreak. I'm happy to be the final of the Australian Open, but on the other hand, there's no guy on the tour that I respect more than Novak Djokovic. Whenever I've struggled, I could call him, ask him for my advice. I wanted it to be a tough 5-set match as well." Well, Agbatoni, errors come, errors go.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have other, ATP tournaments and Grand Slams. It's still the first Grand Slam of the year, the Australia Open, every January, and this is the 115th year that they've been having it. So it's almost like the perfect way to start the tennis calendar every single year. But for the female, it's a strong story. It looks like Aryna Sabalenka will make a triple of that. No disrespect to Madison Keys. I mean, but the manner at which Sabalenka won her semi-finals.
Very true, right?
She's not just
against Paulo Barbosa.
See, I know that Paulo Barbosa was going to struggle, even in the defeat of Coco Gauff. She struggled.
Yeah, exactly.
But the manner at which Sabalenka beat her,
she's in no man's stand at the moment.
She's in a form of her life. She's not lost a game since 2023 November. In fact, she's not lost more than 3 sets in any competition whatsoever.
And that's why she's the current number 1.
She's such in a fantastic form. We're looking at what happens tomorrow, Saturday. I think 12:15 or thereabout Nigerian time. I would have the final of the first Grand Slam of the year, the Australian Open, between I don't know where I will put Zabalenka, because if she wins, it will be treble. The first since Martina Hingis to win 3 Australian Open on the stretch.
That's true.
That is a status.
That's a crazy amount of record, to be honest.
That's a status, my friend.
Okay, if that happens, I just feel like Madison Keys could perhaps have a surprise.
Maybe a moment.
Exactly. Madison Keys as well is also yet to even win a Grand Slam. So I know she will be itching to win this one. And for Aryna Sabalenka, the motivation that will come from the fact that if she wins this one, rather, it makes it the 3rd consecutive time that she'll be winning the Australian Open. But if that happens, what I actually expect in that game is I really expect a game that maybe both of them could
miracles
happen. Exactly.
Maybe that's the only way Madison Keys could have her name engraved on that trophy.
I actually agree with that. And the funniest thing was that no one really expected Madison Keys to be in this final. A lot of people felt it was going to be Aryna Sabalenka versus Iga Swiatek. But I mean, Madison Keys, the way she stunned Iga Swiatek in the semi-final. By
the game, the quarterfinal match between Madison Keys and Iga Swiatek, it doesn't look to me like, no disrespect to Madison Keys, but I think it was Iga Swiatek having a bad day.
Well, maybe.
I think so.
Maybe
it was having a bad day. Not like Madison Keys was
spectacular
as domineering as Zabalenka was for. I looked about those and I'm like, how did she beat Coco Gauff? 2 straight sets, 81 minutes, 6-love, 6-2, and I'm like, in a semi-final of a Grand Slam.
Even for that game against Coco Gauff.
And they're friends.
Yeah, they're friends, exactly.
They're soulmates. But well, that's much you can take on the Australian Open. The final comes up tomorrow. And the all big final for the men's, Australian Open would come up on Sunday, 12:15 Nigerian time. For the love, really interesting. We have a tennis table right there in the office, and I mean, for the in-house people, I'm still the Onile. That's how we roll. All right, we've got some stories on football as well. Yesterday, Manchester United had to wait for the late time of that moment before the captain Fantastic stood up and delivered a 2-1 victory against Rangers. Irdesa coming in and making a mess of everything. What's his name now? What's the English defender right now?
Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire stood for the entire day. One of the easiest, one. Talking about their Europa League fixture. Let's take you through some of the one. FC Porto lost at the Dragão in Portugal to Olympiacos by a goal to nothing. Fenerbahce Lyon ended in a goalless draw. Tottenham Hotspur needed the mastery of Son Heung-min to grind out that result for them. It ended up in 3-2 with a shaky finish against Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim are actually 1 point above relegation in the German Bundesliga, and of course Tottenham Hotspur are 15th in the English Premier League. So there were both teams that needed to make a statement with that game yesterday, and Tottenham won away in Germany. Malmo FC lost at home to FC Twente, and Quarterback also to nothing. Elfsborg defeated Nice by goal to 1. Lazio defeated Real Sociedad by 3 goals to 1. Ludogorets and FC Midtjylland actually played a 2-0 victory away from home. For the biggest game of the night, Manchester United at Old Trafford defeated Rangers by 2 goals to 1. PAOK Salonika versus Slavia Prague played a 2-0 victory for the Greek champions PAOK FC. And of course for RFS, pulled off the biggest win of their European career when they defeated former Champions League winner AFC Ajax by a goal to nothing. And of course there was Union St. Gilloise versus Sporting Braga, and that game ended 2-1 in favor of against Osasuna at 9 p.m. in the German Bundesliga. Wolfsburg returned to action in their game against Austin Kiel by 8:30. And for Italian Serie A, only one game as well. Torino will be hosting Cagliari by 8:45. For the French Ligue 1, there is AG Osrea versus Saint Etienne. Both of those games would also come up by 8:45. For Saturday in the games to expect, Bournemouth will be hosting Nottingham Forest. That is one of the games you want to look out for. We'll analyze that game because of the status of Bournemouth so far this season. They beat the Giants players at the defeated Newcastle at St. James's Park the last time. 4 goals to 1. They defeated Manchester United, defeated Arsenal, defeated Man City, defeated Tottenham Hotspur. So they've actually taken some good games this season. Of course, they would be squaring up against the surprise team of the season. Nottingham Forest joined second on the same point with Arsenal. At just 6, they played a 1-1 draw at the Forest.
You don't have to remind me of that, Opeyemi.
I mean, I'm just giving you the numbers.
Yeah, you don't have to.
I will talk about that game. At the American Express Stadium, the recent Manchester United conquerors Brighton would play against Everton at the Amex Stadium. Liverpool also by 4 p.m. will be hosting Ipswich Town. It look like them alongside Southampton at the whipping boys of the Premier League this season. Liverpool would host Ipswich Town by 4 p.m. and another game also for 4 p.m. is Southampton versus Newcastle, 2 wounded Lions. Newcastle lost their game by 4-1 in front of their fans, and of course against Bournemouth. So they would want to return to winning ways after going 8 games without a draw or a loss. I mean, it's 9 in all competition, but the record will have been 10 if they had defeated Bournemouth. Unfortunately, also by 4 p.m. And the last game tomorrow for that time is at the Millennials. Arsenal would also try to return to winning ways after their shaky victory at the North London derby against Tottenham Hotspur, and having to also lose a 2-goal lead against Aston Villa at the Emirates Stadium the last time. They've been lucky with some fixtures, by the way. Newcastle at home at the Carabao Cup, they lost. Manchester United at home again in the FA Cup, they got knocked out. The North London derby was at home. Aston Villa was at home again. Wolves tomorrow is away. So I mean, you look at their performance in those 4 games. By 4 p.m. Arsenal will play Wolves away from home, and the biggest game of the Premier League for this weekend is Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium against Enzo Maresca's Chelsea. Chelsea also won their first game in 2025 on Monday when they defeated Wolves at the Stamford Bridge at 3-1. That game ended. They would also want to see how they can replicate what a few teams have been able to do at the Etihad Stadium tomorrow by 6:30. It's the battle of the Blues. The battle of the sky blue and the deep blues. Let's see which of the blue will come out strong tomorrow. Exactly. In the Nigerian Premier Football League, Nasarawa United at the Lafayette Township Stadium would host Katsina United, and of course at the Cathedral, Enugu Rangers will be squaring up against the Kotangora champions and Niger Tornadoes. The media officer don't like it when I call him the Kotangora champion. He said we are not winning a champion. I said you have not won the league now, so you are just the champion of the league. Our Sunshine Stars, our football club of Accra, would also return to action this weekend against Ikorodu City. Abia Warriors would play against Bayelsa United. The first game at the Lafayette Township Stadium is Nasarawa United versus Katsina United. That game kicks off at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. in Lafayette
in the afternoon
to play a football game
under the hot pleasing sun.
I've been to that stadium before. It's just like 500 meter space of the stadium that is covered for VIP. Okay, they painted that stadium blue. You're on yourself. Whoa. 2 p.m. kickoff. I mean, that's what we always ask for, by the way. Let's see how it goes. That game will be by 2 p.m. Enugu Rangers at the Cathedral, like we said, would host Niger Tornadoes by 3 p.m. And by 4 p.m., Sunshine Stars would host Ikorodu City. Those are the games we're expected to have tomorrow now. So by 6:15, there's going to be Abia Warriors against Bayelsa United. In the Spanish La Liga, Madrid attempted to return to winning ways after losing their last La Liga game by 0-0 against Leganes. They play the Yellow Submarine tomorrow by 4:15 p.m. at home. There's Sevilla also against Espanyol by 6:30. And the last match of the day in the Spanish La Liga is the battle of the city center, Real Valladolid versus Real Madrid. Well, there's also German Bundesliga actions to expect on Saturday. Augsburg versus Osnabrück by 3:30. There's Borussia Dortmund versus Werder Bremen. That game is also by 3:30. There's Freiburg versus Bayern Munich that were beaten in the Champions League on Wednesday. They want to return to Bundesliga action against Freiburg away from home. Mainz 05 would also be hosting VfB Stuttgart by 3:30, and the last 3:30 fixture is going to be between RB Leipzig and champions of the league Bayern Leverkusen. There's also the last kickoff game for the evening tomorrow is by 6:30, and it's going to be Borussia Mönchengladbach will be hosting VfL Bochum. Those are the games to expect tomorrow in the Spanish La Liga and in the German Bundesliga as well. Let's quickly go to Italy, the land of the Azzurris. Como 1807 defeated Fiorentina the last time by 4-1. Of course, don't forget the involvement of Cesc Fabregas in that team. And very recently, they signed well, I don't know how to describe his career, but talking about the one that was started to be the next big deal for the Three Lions, talking about Dele Alli. He has, decided to pitch them with Como 1907, but they will be playing against Atalanta, high-flying Atalanta. They lost their game against Napoli the last time out, their first defeat in 13 Italian Serie A games. They want to return to winning ways against a Como that also want to consolidate on their 4-1 victory against Fiorentina the last time out. The big game for the weekend, certainly at the Naples, specifically at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium. Napoli will be hosting former league champions Juventus by 6 p.m. Empoli will also
part of the draws,
massive. Don't go there. I didn't see that coming. And there's going to be Empoli versus Bologna by 8:45. The last match for the Italian Serie A on Saturday, which is tomorrow. And for the French Ligue 1, there's going to be AS Monaco versus Rennes by 5 p.m. Strasbourg would host Lille by 7 p.m. and PSG would want to consolidate on their 4-2 come from behind win against Manchester City in the Champions League. I'm sure that the Parc des Princes will be filled to capacity and the people would want to have a good time. It's going to be a carnival. I love that arena. I love the atmosphere they created after winning Manchester City. The fans, the coach, the players, the ultras, the president as well, everybody there with the fans. It was a carnival, almost like they won the Champions League for beating Man City. I mean, so much for a team that got so much potentials. Well, for Sunday fixtures also, we have games in the English Premier League coming up on Sunday. There's Crystal Palace, hosting Brentford. By 3 p.m. there is Tottenham Hotspur versus Leicester City. Oh God, this game should be moved to Cartoon Network. It's going to be a very, very funny game. At the new Tottenham Stadium by 3 p.m. they will host a team that is super struggling right now. Ruud van Nistelrooy had not been able to replicate his magic in the Dutch league, and the 4 games he had with Manchester United, where he didn't lose any of the 4, he's been struggling at Leicester City. They will be going away from home to North London to play Tottenham Hotspur. That game will be all by 3 p.m. and by 5:30. The conquerors of Arsenal, week in, week out, the boogie team of Arsenal as we speak, on Emirates, Aston Villa, the Villa Park will be hosting Graham Potter's West Ham. 1 win, 2 losses for Graham Potter. He's had 1 loss in the Premier League, 1 win in the Premier League, and his first game in the Cup, he lost it against the same Aston Villa. But this one, of course, is a Premier League affair. And the last match for tomorrow at the Craven Cottage, you see Manchester United attempt to return to winning ways. They are 13th as we speak. 26 points joint with West Ham United, and as we speak, Andre Onana had conceded 31 Premier League goals and 77 goals in 18 months of being Manchester United number 1 against a certain Fulham that could be a bit consistent, unpredictable. Let's see how they will come up with on Sunday. Last game for the Premier League for Sunday 8 p.m. at the Craven Cottage is Manchester United will be the guest of Fulham. For the Nigerian Premier Football League 4 p.m. kickoff, the Atlanta Football Club of Owerri would host the Lobby Stars, but the game is going to be in Owerri. For Aqua United, the Promise Keepers, they'll be hosting Remo Stars by 4 p.m. And the last match for Sunday in the Nigerian Premier Football League would be Plateau United hosting former league champions Rivers United. For the Spanish La Liga, there's Rayo Vallecano versus Girona by 2 p.m. There's Real Sociedad versus Getafe by 4:15, and Athletic Club Bilbao, sitting 4th, joint with Barcelona, would host Leganes by 6:30, and the last match for the night is going to be Barcelona hosting Valencia by 9 p.m. For the German Bundesliga, there's Hoffenheim versus Eintracht Frankfurt by 3:30, and St. Pauli will host Union Berlin by 5:30. The Italian Serie A, there's AC Milan at the San Siro versus Parma. There's Udinese versus AS Roma. There's Lecce versus Inter Milan. and there's Lazio versus Fiorentina. For the French Ligue 1, there's Le Havre versus Brest by 3 p.m. There's Lens versus Angers by 5:15. There's Nantes versus Lyon also by 5:15. There's Toulouse versus Montpellier by 5:15 as well. 3 games to start simultaneously by 5:15 in the French Ligue 1. There's Lens versus Angers, Nantes versus Lyon. There's Toulouse versus Montpellier, and the last game for Sunday in the French Ligue 1 by 8:45 is Nice versus Marseille. So those are the games that we're expected to have all through the weekend in the major leagues across Europe right there. But let's quickly look at some transfer stories also before we come into the analysis for those ones. Well, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has said that the club has identified certain targets and their eyes are out to see if they can bring quality.
They are always identifying targets. They are not bringing in targets on board.
Well, in the wake of _Ghebreyesus' anterior cruciate ligament injury, which will keep him out for a year, Arteta wants to bolster his attacking options before the transfer window closes in 10 days. _Ghebreyesus' absence leaves Kai Havertz as the only sole recognized striker, while Bukayo Saka is also expected to be out until at least March with the hamstring tear that is sustained against Crystal Palace. Okay, welcome back to the show. We have to take that quick break just to catch my breath. Internal talk at Arsenal have continued over the recruitment of a forward with RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko and Wolves forward Matthias Cunha are 2 of the names linked with the move to the Emirates Stadium. While Arteta was not keen on talking about individual target ahead of the size Premier League clash with Wolves on Saturday, the Gunners boss reviewed work is continuing behind the scene to bring in a forward in January. My opinion is clear, said Arteta when asked about the need for Arsenal to sign a forward before the end of the transfer window. He said, we lost 2 very important strikers in Bukayo Saka and Ghebreyesus, so we lack goals, people and options in the front line. It is clear that for the period that we have lost them, ideally we need some help because we were short already and we are even shorter. The team can still cope with that, but we have to do what is right for the club. If you can get the right player, that is what we are looking at actively, but not just any player. No, we need someone that makes us better and makes an impact on the team.
Okay, as a serious club, you do, I will say it in here and everywhere. You don't wait for a January transfer windows to start doing business. I mean, you make your business during the summer. Well, no serious club will let go of their striker at the January transfer window.
I mean, it's about money.
Yeah, about money.
Massive big money moves in January. It has clicked.
But then no serious club will let go of their star players. Yes, no serious club
though. If you can get the right player, like Arteta said, he said we have very, very short numbers for many, many weeks, and we recognize the situation. We all do. That's why we are trying to do the right thing for this club, the team, and to make our situation better and also our intentions. When asked if Arsenal have identified potential target, Arteta answered yes. There also was that Arteta went to consult the squad members over signing. Well, that's funny though. Arsenal have also Arteta is also revealed that he's consulting his own players over signing this month after admitting his depleted side needs help. Declan Rice was recently quoted to have said, "I will not be surprised if we do something in this summer." And when asked if the players have told him they need more bodies, Arteta said, "Not like that, but we have all been there and we all look at each other." Arteta pushed on whether he's speaking of his current squad after signing players. He said, and I quote, "I would always do that, especially if they know themselves, because that's getting us away from the computer and what the data is saying to what is real." Well, there are a lot of names that have been linked to the club, and let's see how many of these players or any at all they will be able to come up with. There's Benjamin Sesko of RB Leipzig, and there's also Demola Lookman of Atalanta. His name might also come up somewhere along the line, but let's see which of the transfer dealings Arsenal will be able to put forward. But at least they've admitted at this point now that they absolutely need help. You are still live on Milan 98.3 FM. This program is called Sports Cruise every Monday to Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. Their record also coming up that one of Ajax forward, Brobbey, is now a serious target for Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs desperately need a forward because the Sri Lanka is going to be out for some time, and Richardson has only come back. There's been talks about Spurs entering the race for Ajax forward Brian Brobbey, but the understanding is that it may not be entirely true. They are in the forward position, but understand that Brobbey is not that forward and is not ready to join. Let me quickly bring something to you. Under Mikel Arteta's leadership, some very interesting figures. They've signed 7 goalkeepers. They've signed in the team rather. There's Arsenal signing under Mikel Arteta 7 goalkeepers, 11 defenders, 12 midfielders, and just 2 strikers. Well, let's see how it goes right there.
Arsenal play with a false 9, so they don't have to sign strikers.
Well, let's see. Dundee United have confirmed striker Sam Dalby would remain at the club till the end of the season. The 25-year-old is on loan from English clubs at Wrexham, and he has scored 10 goals in 20 league matches, and making him the joint top scorer in the Scottish Premier League alongside Kyogo, who is said to leave for Celtic. Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson has recently refused to rule out the possibility of recalling Dalby. However, United have now received information that the player will stay at Tennent's Park until the summer. Dundee host Rangers on Sunday in the Scottish League. There are also reports for Unai Emery and his Aston Villa ahead of the upcoming match against West Ham, and there are also some very serious transfer rumors there. But let's see update on Napoli and Chelsea's interest in Garnacho. But the question is this: does Garnacho want to leave? According to Melissa Reddy, the discussion going on between Chelsea and also Napoli with Manchester United. But it looks at Alexander Garnacho has explained to the young winger initially no intention to leave at the transfer window. But yesterday, if you watch their game, after the match, he went around applauding the fans at the Old Trafford. After the game also, he played the full match, and then after the game, he made pictures. He said, "Well done, guys. Thank you, Old Trafford." And there's been a lot of interpretation to that particular one there. Maybe he's already saying his goodbye to Manchester United, but it's going to be a massive loss for Manchester United. Well, further putting up the name of Sesko. And what's coming out of the Italian media says that Arsenal have agreed, but Leipzig are holding on to Sesko, and they want him to be with them till the end of transfer. The end of this season rather. For Brighton boss Fabian Hosela has also admitted that he may need to dip into the transfer market to bolster his defense. Seagulls keeper Lille as Oslar's only fit centre half. We have a lot of offensive players, but especially in our defense line we are suffering a little bit, but we always manage to find solutions so far, and that is also our job. I'm sure no matter who plays the squad. Remember former Norwich City striker Temi Pukki has left this MLS side to join the Finnish side HSJ Helsinki for an undisclosed fee. Pukki spent 5 years at Norwich between 2018 and 2023, making over 200 appearances and scoring 88 goals. He left England for MLS side Minnesota United in 2023, and the 34-year-old had also had spells with Sevilla, Schalke and Celtic. He's also the second most capped player for Finland, 10 behind Jari Litmanen in 137. Pukki helped his side to qualify for Euro 2020, their first major tournament in their history. In 2021, he scored against Kazakhstan to become Finland's all-time goal scorer. Graham Potter is reluctant to comment on West Ham's search for a striker ahead of the game against Aston Villa. According to the British media, West Ham have been linked with moves from John Durham, who could link up to face them at Villa Park on Sunday, as well as RB Leipzig forward Andre Silva. Remember Andre Silva, the guy that got the hat-trick at the World Cup for Portugal? If I answer every question on the speculations, then we know that will be a long time, and this will be pretty tedious. That's Graham Potter talking to the media ahead of their game against Aston Villa tomorrow. So we just ignore the noise and help the players that are injured to get back. We're always looking forward, obviously, but there are a lot of facts. Best striker in Cunha, and the club and the coach has said he is not for sale. Well, let's leave some of the transfer windows. I will probably come back to them before the end of the show. But let's see how some of these games will look at this weekend, especially with Manchester City's game against Chelsea. That is what a lot of people are looking for. That's about the biggest game in the league this season. This weekend rather. Yeah. That is Chelsea at the Etihad Stadium against Manchester City. Would also pick the cousin between 09136000410. Talk to us. We've had a lot of conversation on the show this week. Let's also see what are you expecting from your club this weekend. The Champions League are over until next weekend, where all of the round of match 8 fixtures will be played at the same time. So, Tommy, let's quickly get straight up into this one. There's Chelsea. I mean, was a point in the season where Chelsea were just 4 points away from Liverpool. If they won a particular game, because Liverpool plays on Sunday evening, Chelsea will have just been a point, although with a game less for Liverpool. But look at how far Chelsea is right now. They had games against Fulham, they couldn't win it against Ipswich Town, they couldn't win it against Everton, they couldn't win it against who else did they play against? Against Ipswich. They lost to Ipswich. But now, I mean, they came back. Their first win of 2025 against Wolves that have neither been here or there the entire season. What Man City, what Chelsea? Let's start from there. What Chelsea team are we expecting to turn up against Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium tomorrow?
Well, first of all, that was not the first win for Chelsea this year. Their first win for Chelsea.
The Premier League.
No. Their first win for Chelsea in the year was against Morecambe. So let's just identify. Let's just clear that fact. Well, okay, against Manchester City, I expect. To be honest, it will have been good if both teams can be on the losing side this weekend. But it's so unfortunate that both teams can be on the losing side because the both of them are currently not at the best of their form. Last week when Manchester City defeated Ipswich 6-0 at the Etihad, a lot of people made mention of the fact that Manchester City were back. Foden as well also firing on all cylinders.
6 goals in 6 Premier League games. It looks to be in form.
And then in the English in the UEFA Champions League game rather against PSG, where they capitulated in that game and they were unable to take that game and lock up that game. So I think this is also an opportunity for Manchester City to come back to winning ways and show the stuffs they are made of. They are currently actually fourth as well in the English Premier League, and they rose they are fifth rather because Chelsea are won against Wolverhampton. But for Chelsea as well, they also want to. They lost to Fulham, lost to Ipswich as well this season. Lost. I think they drew rather to against Crystal Palace. That was the 2-2. Who needs it more? And for these games like this, form is being thrown out of the window. It just matters who exactly wants it more. If Manchester City that wants to win this game, or then Chelsea wants to win this game. Let's
talk about Manchester City. I feel for Pep. There's just a lot of things going wrong for him as we speak. Yes, they are clicking up their transfer dealings as quick as possible. They unveiled Mamouche earlier today, and he said he's coming in to get the job done. 15 goals in 17 games. And then he's now a part of the team, the third player that's signing in this transfer window already.
4 actually.
4, yeah. Exactly. But more importantly, a bit of inconsistency here and there. We've seen games where Man City had, look like a shadow of what they used to be. But their next run of fixtures,
very, very crazy games.
It's a lot of problems. So the fans are wondering, how did they get to where they are right now? Let me take you through Manchester City's fixtures for the next 7 weeks. So the fans will be like, no way, this is not possible. They play Chelsea tomorrow at the Etihad Stadium. They play they play Arsenal next at the Emirates Stadium on the 2nd of February.
Before that, they will play Club Brugge UEFA Champions League on Wednesday.
A game they have to win. Then they play Arsenal on the 2nd of February in the Premier League. Then they play Newcastle on Saturday, the 15th of February. And after then, they play Liverpool. After Liverpool, they play Nottingham Forest. And after Nottingham Forest, after Liverpool, they play Tottenham Hotspur. And after Tottenham Hotspur, they play Nottingham Forest. So they play all of the teams in the top 6.
After Nottingham Forest, they also host Brighton as well.
Brighton at the Etihad Stadium. So that's what I'm saying, that the next 6 games are teams in the top 6 or top 7. They play Chelsea tomorrow. They play Arsenal, they play Newcastle, they play Liverpool, they play Spurs, and they play Nottingham Forest.
Well, I really believe that this is testament to the fact that the English Premier League is maybe the best league in world football at the moment. Because you take a look at these sides that they play. Maybe in the last 4 or 5 years, if you see that Manchester City would maybe play with not a certain Nottingham Forest or maybe
and it would be a game of
not a Newcastle. So it's not be like, Manchester City we're going to win this one. So I think the English Premier League has also improved in that regard. But if you also take a look at the table very quickly as well, the English Premier League table, Manchester City are also just 2 points behind Chelsea. So it means that
they were in top 4 until Chelsea won on Monday
against Wolverhampton. So it just goes to see that whoever wins this game goes top. If Chelsea wins this game, that means they go 5 points ahead of Manchester City. If Manchester City has also win this game as well, they go just 1 point and then they go into fourth rather. So this is also a big game. Apart from that, Liverpool will play against Ipswich by 4 p.m. Arsenal as well are also in action. They will be playing by 4 p.m. against Wolverhampton. Chelsea versus Manchester City will be that same
this weekend. I will take other games that would also be of interest to us. But let's take a very short musical break, and I want you to just have a good time with Mohbad. I've said it that sometimes in life you need to have people with you and not exactly people around you. A young man that I felt he had so many people with him, so many people around him, but he actually had no one with him. This one is called Ask About Me. Ask about Mainland 98.3 FM. Ask about the sports cruise. Ask about me, the host with the most. Ask about Akatomi. We'll be right back. Just something good. I will come back. I will talk about more games to expect in the major leagues across Europe for this weekend.
Hello, my name is Godwin Enoch and I'm a broadcast journalist. Yes, my friend will tell me that I am a sport administrator by accident. Listen every day of the weekday to Sports Cruise on Mainland FM. God bless you.
About me, wọ́n ti lé mi bọ̀ wọ́n mú mi, ọmọ ọlọ́run kò lè sú mi, ṣékeṣéke búlá, I'm still getting my moolah, dọ́là pẹ̀lú náírà, tó pààyà tíṣà, ó lè pààrọ̀ ló ń fò lókè o, ẹyẹ ló ń fò lókè o, kí ló ń rìn nílẹ̀, àwọn èèyàn ló máa ń rìn nílẹ̀, má tẹ̀ mí mọ́lẹ̀ owó, má tẹ̀jú ilẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀, kó má bàdàn balẹ̀. Ìwọ ló máa fi kólẹ̀, fún wa sójà, mẹ́ta gbòòsà, àwílò ló kàn bá fún mi lówó mi. Késekése kásá blanca, òkun bá fi ṣàtà, I step on the seat, mo pè ṣù dànù. Mo kàn lẹ́sẹ̀ kan, ó ta mo régéjì gan. They don't know, I don't go. They want know, I go. Kilo fa pata yẹn wọ́n fẹ́ ká mi mọ kẹ̀yìn ọkọ̀ ti tún fáìnà ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ ní méjì ṣeré mú. I'm still getting my moolah, dọ́là pẹ̀lú náírà, tó pààyà tíṣà, ó lè pààrọ̀ ló ń fò lókè o, ẹyẹ ló ń fò lókè o, kí ló ń rìn nílẹ̀, àwọn èèyàn ló máa ń rìn nílẹ̀, má tẹ̀ mí mọ́lẹ̀ owó, má tẹ̀jú ilẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀, kó má bàdàn balẹ̀, ìwọ ló máa fi kólẹ̀, fún wa sójà, mẹ́ta gbòòsà, àwílò ló kàn bá fún mi lówó mi. Késekése kásá blanca, òkun bá fi ṣàtà, I step on the seat, mo pè ṣù dànù. Mo kàn lẹ́sẹ̀ kan, ó ta mo régéjì gan.
Hello, my name is Godwin Enoch and I'm a broadcast journalist. Yes, my friend will tell me that I am a sport administrator by accident. Listen every day of the weekday to Sports Cruise on Mainland FM. God bless you.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. That was Ask About Me by Mohbad of blessed memory. Reports coming out of Turkey Is saying that a shocking drama unfolded late on Thursday evening after a disappointing result for Galatasaray and the UEFA Europa League 2 days earlier, with Osimhen dressed up in a beanie and yellow hoodie and his entourage living in a swanky entertainment venue. However, when the Super Eagles star was approached by photographers, all heads reportedly broke loose. The cameras were flashing and Osimhen's temper allegedly went into overdrive. Poster journalist Stoga Bodzuma was on the receiving end of Osimhen's fury as he recounted how he allegedly assaulted the Galatasaray striker. When the camera flashes went on, all hell broke loose. Bodzuma recounted, clearly still rattled by the altercation. Okay. Osimhen screamed and lunged at me. He tried to take my camera away from me, but I didn't let him. He punched me in the head. He's still hot. According to the journalist via the aforementioned outlet, after the attack, the footballer allegedly tried to bribe Osimhen into deleting the incriminating photos. He offered, destroy the footage, I will give you money. Bozduma revealed, describing the audacious request. But when the journalist refused to comply, the situation escalated further. He said, I will destroy you. But Zuma claimed, detailing the chilling threats that followed upon the denial of Osimhen's alleged request. Okay, I'm sure you've been following that story one way or the other. But of course, a report also saying that Victor Osimhen has responded, to that particular allegation. But guess what he did? He responded with a post. He responded with a meme on his social media platform, Instagram. Of course, I'm sure you know the Ghanaian journalist that is always making a mockery of Manchester United, and then everybody will laugh. That was actually the meme he posted on one of his social media platforms. It's
unwanted attention for the Galatasaray striker. I mean, the ultras could turn on him if he's been found so fast. Exactly. And I mean, when that happens, his season might just go down the drain. He might eventually, because I mean, you take a look at the Turkish ultras, especially that of Galatasaray.
But they've shown him love.
They've shown him love. Right? Yes, exactly. But when they turn on him, and then he gets to be a negative vibe all around. It can be a very messy situation. So I mean, Victor Osimhen is a player that is very well talented, as well as also having a lot of controversies as well around him. You remember, when he went on Instagram Live as well to also abuse his former manager as well.
Abuse us too with Nigerians. So we're ungrateful.
In extension. So,
but I've not won anything with us. Say we're ungrateful.
So that.
But for J.J. which a lot of people agree that is one of the greatest midfielders the continent had ever produced.
Exactly.
Sam Allardyce was still defending him yesterday that is because he was so underrated because he's not English or he's not Spanish. That was how he described J.J. I remember it was his manager at Bolton where J.J. qualified Bolton back to back for European competition. That then UEFA Cup before it became Europa League. But I'm always just wondering why Victor Osimhen does not know that he's like the poster boy of the Super Eagles.
Apart from that,
the pride of the country. Everybody loves you, man.
Maybe the poster boy of Africa too as well.
I mean, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, just at that stage, and
you don't have to go into controversies like that.
The African Ball of the Year award thing came up, and the entire world knew you deserved it. The positive PR that came after the fact that you brought the award home to
Olusoso, exactly.
Very close to us,
the controversy of also not congratulating his successor as well. What's his name now?
I just feel he's enjoying his game, and he should not allow anything outside of football distract him. Well, Agbataya, I'm hoping you enjoy yourself. You have a very tricky, unpredictable game against Ipswich. They probably want to tap in from the fact that they're beating Chelsea this season. I mean, you want to call the game straight up?
Yeah, they also lost to Manchester City as well last weekend, 6-0, and Liverpool know that they have work cut out for them. It also called as well that this was also the first game, for Liverpool as well as Arne Slot in the Premier League back at Portman Road. I think at some point he switched matched Liverpool, a man-to-man in that game. The man all through the game.
Initial
gaga. But then the second half, Liverpool showed their mettle and then scored. But against Ipswich, I really expect a very, very convincing and comfortable win for Liverpool tomorrow.
Okay, you want to also in 1, 2, 3 seconds Chelsea, Manchester City?
To be honest, all I want is a draw. I want a draw.
Of course, a Liverpool fan.
But then,
I understand.
I mean, if I'm going to be objective, I really feel that Manchester City could nick this one in the board.
I hope they do so. Thank you so much, 𝐴̀gbàtọ́mì, for coming through.
Always a pleasure.
My name is Tᴏɪᴜnᴛᴛᴇʀ Mᴜɪᴜ. They call me the host with the most. This show returns on Monday, same time, 6 p.m. and same station, your number one radio dial, mainland 98.3 FM. Enjoy your weekend. Next up is Voice from the Top with Kunle Daniels and Joseph Olorunsho.